Hello there. Thank you for taking a moment to watch this video, and on this specific training we're going to continue talking about the ARMOR dashboard, but I want to start diving a little bit deeper into the data. And that's what this dashboard allows you to do. So again, when you load the dashboard, you're going to see an overview of the last 30 days activity for your organization. All the phone numbers, all the agents, all the calls, all that information is going to be right here on the dashboard. And you can see here across my entire team, over the last 30 days or so, T-Mobile had a 31.3% live answer rate. Let's say I wanted to dive deeper and understand more about that 31.3% live answer rate. The first thing I want to do is over on the right-hand side in the filtering section, I need to choose the date range, whether that's the last 30 days or any other preset option, or I can choose a specific date range. I'm also going to need to decide how to group the data. Do I want it broken down daily, weekly, or monthly? Now, because I'm dealing with sample data, I don't have a ton of calls and activity in this account. I'm going to switch this to daily because I think the graphs are going to look a little bit better with that, so I'm going to change that. Now, because I want to specifically look at the call volume and answer rate specific to T-Mobile, I'm going to go to the carrier section and I'm going to choose T-Mobile. I could select additional carriers if I wanted, but I want to focus on T-Mobile, so I'm going to click away. Once I click away, all of this information here is going to update based off of that carrier. You'll see that Verizon and other carriers, that information just went away. Now I'm going to scroll down and we're going to see call volume. The call volume graph is specific to calls made during this date range to T-Mobile numbers. And of course, you can see I don't have a lot of call volume, but you can see it's up and down because I'm doing sample calls. Now this graph allows me to break it down even further. Over here where it says none, I can choose, maybe I want to see it broken down by agent. How many calls by agent were made to T-Mobile numbers? I choose agent and the graph will update. It's going to break out all of my different agents and the volume of calls that they made to any particular T-Mobile number. I can break this down by phone number. So of all of the caller IDs, again, I have 28 phone numbers that are protected. So all of the phone numbers that I own that were used as caller IDs when calling a T-Mobile number. Again, sample data, so there's not a lot of pretty graph information here, but you can see I have quite a few phone numbers that were used to call the T-Mobile numbers. I can also switch this to line type. This isn't going to be super amazing because all of the calls were to mobile, right? Now let's jump over to lead source. And you can see I don't have a lot of different lead sources that have T-Mobile phone numbers, but this will allow me to break this down and see how many calls by volume were placed to T-Mobile numbers for my different lead sources. Let's say I wanted to compare my lead sources call volume to answer rate. Let's scroll down here to the answer rate. Let's update this graph to show lead source. So here you can see over the course of the last 30-ish days, this was my live answer rate to T-Mobile numbers. And if I scroll up here to where I have both graphs on the screen, you can see, what was it, June 28th, I had high volume of calls, but I have 0% live answer rate. That's interesting. Maybe that day of the week is not necessarily a great day of the week for me to be making calls or making calls to T-Mobile. That's where some of the other graphs can come into play. As you know, we've got lots of options on this dashboard. So let's take a look at our answer rate day of the week. I don't know why it's scrolling funny here. So here, let's update this one to show lead source. And you can see Monday, we've got a 100% answer rate. Wednesday's a 50% answer rate, and Thursday's a 0% answer rate. We can even dive a little bit deeper into this and look at answer rate by the time of day of the call. Let's update this one to match our lead source. So here we can see a 50% chance that they're going to answer. So here we can see there's a 50% chance that they're going to answer if the call's made at 1 p.m. Now, lead age is one that I think would be very helpful for most people. However, my data is all super old in here, so it's not going to be helpful for us. And then we've got the breakdown for call volume for time and day of week. This is a plot map that's going to get darker the more volume there is. Of course, this is just volume. Then we can compare that to the answer rate based off of the time and day of the week. Now, this is not breaking it down by lead source. You'll notice that some of these graphs, you cannot further break this down. So this is just all T-Mobile calls, time and day of the week. And then if we scroll down a little bit further, we've got call volume by phone numbers. So of all the phone numbers that we use to make the phone calls that were used as caller IDs to call T-Mobile numbers, this is the volume. And we can compare that to the answer rate. You'll notice this 909 number seems to have a really good live answer rate. But we also don't have a lot of volume. So let's take a look at this 385 number that has a lot of volume and compare that. What was that? 3850283, 0283. So this number has a 25% live answer rate. So as you can see, you can really start to dive deep into the data and compare and contrast total calls to live answer rate broken down based off of your different filtering options. Again, this specific video, we're talking about carrier. And then finally, there's a couple other graphs that I do like to point out, the call volume by state and the live answer rate by state. These graphs can be fun to look at to really just see where in the country are your calls being placed and what do those live answer rates look like. Anyway, I hope this helps you better understand how you can take advantage of the Armor dashboard to dive deep into the data to understand how you're doing on any particular carrier so that you and your organization can focus your energy appropriately. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and happy diving.